All right, Podofgeauxld, welcome back. I'm Brett. I'm here with Mike Grant, the intern behind the glass in a remote location. I wanted to start with LSU Bama, but Mike demanded we started the podcast with how good Bo Nix is playing. Mike, take it away.
I haven't been watching. That's not my obsession anymore. Uh, how is he doing?
It's funny because now he's like the best version that anyone could have ever wished for. But there obviously is a little bit of a tie. Brian Harsin out at Auburn. Are we worried about the coach search yet, Mike?
It's definitely a program that you don't want to see rise. But I don't think we have anything to worry about for a number of seasons. I don't think they're going to hire anybody that's immediately going to take over as a big threat. We'll see. It should be a fun watch, though. I mean, they got Cohen in there as AD, which I think eliminates Hugh Freeze, according to Jake Crane. But Kiffin's a hot name, as we
Would you
mentioned
rather would you
preseason.
rather Kiffin at Auburn or Kiffin at Ole Miss for as an LSU fan? Like,
Uh,
where's Kiffin more dangerous?
I think honestly, I think Kiffin's more dangerous at Ole Miss. I think Auburn, it's too big of a stage. I think he's competing directly with Nick Saban. I don't want Lane Kiffin at A&M. That's what I don't want. I think Dion is actually a bold move for Auburn, and I think that's something that we should keep an eye on as well. Because if you're going to go progressive, if you're going to go splashy, if you're going to go, let's do something that's wild and out there. That one kind
Mel
of scares me
Tucker.
a little bit. Yeah, yeah. Let's go get him another raise. How about the
um,
guys we got raises last season?
James, yeah, they're crushing it. So good job, Scott Woodward. Everyone thank Ed Orgeron for the cascading effects of college football. We kind of just jumped in because right before the pod started, we kind of started getting in a deep college football discussion, but we can table that for later. Hit us up on Twitter at Podofgeauxld, podofgeauxld@gmail.com, at Goldmike, at Grant the Intern. Find us on YouTube, Twitter, all that fun stuff. Alabama game. Normally don't ask you to do it, but go to the YouTubes, hit subscribe, do all that fun stuff.
Grant's going to have an easy schedule to make this weekend. There's 2 games, boys.
Yeah,
There's
there's a
2 games.
you should actually. That's an incredible idea. Make that and block the entire thing with just the Tennessee Georgia game and then the LSU game behind it. I think that's an incredibly good tweet.
What are y'all
I'll
cooking for the game? That's a good topic. I know there's something on the menu.
I haven't gotten that far yet.
I'll be at Seth's house, and he said he was going to make a chili, but he said it's going to be too hot, so maybe it'll be a grilling of some
A
sort.
cold chili, maybe.
I am doing a chili as well. I decided on a
Nice.
chili. It's dreary out here. It's
N-
dreary. I have made the move. I am in Tennessee land. I am near Knoxville. I'm not in Knoxville, but it is orange out here. Every
Yeah, is
store I've
it?
walked
It's
through,
vibing.
it is volled out. Yeah.
Shout out Big Orange Mac making an appearance
Yeah.
on the Brandon Walker show. Good
That's
for
pretty
him.
crazy. Yeah.
Are you of the opinion he got owned?
No, I mean, dude, that's just kind of Brandon's thing. Like, he's good at that, but it's also just like I'll just kind of yell and pick one thing, like whatever. Big Orange Mac's a man. Like,
That is truly his accent though. And
oh
Yeah.
yeah,
like
100%.
that's what I get Brandon Walker, picked on that, and it's easy to just kind of go off. It's like calling somebody an idiot. It's like, okay, well, where's the facts here? Big Orange Mac, that is his accent. It's through and through. It's true.
um,
It takes me off guard every time I hear him speak, though, but it's definitely his accent.
Definitely.
well, game of the century of the week. LSU plays on ESPN for the first time and that I can remember. I mean, it's been a decade plus that LSU's played on ESPN at night against Bama, mostly day games, sometimes night, but this is the most excited I've been for one in a while.
I believe the last time it was at home, we were ranked 10 and they were ranked 6th, was 2010. We actually pulled out that game. It was a victory. Jordan Jefferson to Ruben Randall. I think we were there. I think we were actually
That's the D'Angelo Peterson reverse game, right?
right. He's got to score
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
That was my 21st birthday. We went to the casino after. Best day of my life.
correct.
After wedding and kids and obviously all that other stuff.
Right.
Just saying.
But
Yeah.
your best. Yeah.
Yeah, obviously. Like, I didn't forget about any of that stuff and say something before I thought about it. So, no, LSU Alabama is a it just feels different. There was a time where Florida games at LSU at night had a little bit of a different feel, and I don't know, it's probably mostly been post Saban, but it's a different atmosphere. And I just kind of found it funny, like the Sports Center clip with Brian Kelly talk there. The guy was like, what's the atmosphere going to be like? And I'm like, buddy, he doesn't fucking know. And then I was right before we got in the studio, I had to get a little energy. So I watched some LSU Gold, and it was the same thing. Brian Kelly, like before talking to the team, and he's like, they don't know what they're coming into. And I'm like, that's exactly how I feel like for you in this game. Like it's just different. Ole Miss during the day, Southern at night is just a totally different. It might as well be in a different stadium.
Yeah, Tennessee at 11 o'clock kick with the first kick being fumbled on our own 20 to Hendon Hooker and crew. I mean, like that was a deflated stadium right out of the gate. So I really think that this is going to be an atmosphere that, yeah, Brian Kelly probably is not familiar with other than his national championship and playoff appearances. Brian Kelly after a bye is 11-1. And that's probably because he plays Cincinnati at Notre Dame after a bye, but he gets these guys prepared. They don't play down to their opponent. They play up. We are going to have to play up to our opponent, and we have to continue our ascent. I think that's the name of the game for this week. Continue to improve and not regress. And dude, I was looking at that reflection of Zoe walking through the door. I thought it was Clementine walking through my door. I was like, dude, when did she turn white? Like, that's crazy. For those that don't watch the YouTube stream, Brett's pup wanted to join the party. So, but anyway, there's a lot of interesting factors that happen when LSU plays Alabama. And I know a lot of people say, well, disregard the trends, throw out everything history says, because this is
throw out the record books.
Right. Throw out the record books. This is Brian Kelly's team. This is a whole new chapter. Hell, throw out the first half of LSU season. This is a new team. And it's kind of true, dude. You don't really know what you're going to get. If you get this LSU team that you've seen fix their mistakes and execute on the offensive side of the football, and the defense continues to play like they have all season, you're going to have a very fun game to watch. You're going to have a 4-quarter football game. If you don't, if you have LSU that came out against Florida State, if you have
that team's dead.
A scared Jaden Daniels, if you have injuries on the offensive line like we had against Tennessee, where you got Xavier Hill in there and we have mismatches, it's going to be a long night. I don't foresee that. I foresee this team continuing to get better and better, and it is going to accumulate to this moment. I really believe Brian Kelly's the type of coach that he prepares himself and his team for these types of moments. And I think he's got an opportunity with all eyes on him, making a big splash, making the media circuit. I mean, like this is under a microscope right now. This could be a program changing game per se. And I don't even think we need to win it to be a program changing game. Year one under Brian Kelly, taking Bama down to the wire, top 10 matchup. I see that happening. Now, if we can fix our special teams, if we can get some good juju from the waxing gibbous that's going to be present Saturday night in Baton Rouge, I think there could be some interesting factors that play into our hand. And you can pull off the upset. You can beat Alabama this season. This is not Derrick Henry running down the pipe. This is not – I was going to say it's not Tua. It's not Tua. Bryce Young's better than Tua. But we don't have –
Maybe.
We don't have Judy streaking down the sideline. You don't have Amari Cooper. I mean, like, they have dudes, but you know who they are. It's Bryce Young and it's Jahmyr Gibbs. If you can contain those two, and if you can stop the pass rush with our 2 freshman tackles, it's a big task. You can have a ball game. You can have a ball game.
Mike, yeah, you unloaded the clip. That was like an hour's worth of content that you just like breezed through. You broke down every single aspect. You're killing me.
That's just an outline. That's a summarization of what we're going to get into here.
No, I mean, I don't even know where to. There were so many like little points that I had like something to say. I'm like, okay, and then I don't know where to start now. But like
Rick's first booty.
Fuck Rick's. I don't care about Eli Ricks. Like, good luck. He's gonna be on that field and say, wow, I never actually got to experience this. And that's what's going to suck for him, because he never got to play in an LSU environment like that with COVID and everything else that
Yeah.
happened. Like it's just like this is going to be the most alive that this stadium's been since the 2019 season.
Bryce
So
Young said it. He's like, I played in that stadium. It's not that big. It's not that intimidating. Bro, you played it the COVID year. We were
there was like
3-4.
12,000 people there.
Yeah.
Like what? No, but to beat out Alabama, and this is not like you said, this is just not the same. Oh my God, Alabama, the juggernaut team. But like, we can't go in and have a completely like non-existent first quarter where we give up 2 touchdowns. We can't pick up a first down, and then it's like, oh, let's get started. Let's get into this game. Like, keep the crowd in the game. Make Alabama's prone to making mistakes. Like they've been penalized a ton this entire season. It's like if we can start doing that, get them in 1st and 15. I've been trying to think about what the name of the game would be. Like what would have to happen, and we can kind of talk about this later. Of like what would happen to have LSU win this game. And I keep thinking like it might have to be the Micah Baskerville game. Like it might have to be that game where this dude just has 18 tackles and like nothing gets behind him. And it's like, oh, they just couldn't pick up a lot of these 3rd downs and they had to kick field goals. And like we'll talk about the weather that may come in and how that may affect it. But I don't know. I just keep having this like Micah Baskerville has to be that dude, or whatever. Can be Harold Perkins, the linebacker. Like one of these dudes is just going to have to bottle up Gibbs all day and Bryce Young.
It's the three-headed monster. You have to have Ojulari, Baskerville, and Perkins all play great games. You have to have them setting the edge, keeping contained. And when Bryce Young, there's no better quarterback in college football that can make plays on the move than Bryce Young. He sucks you in thinking that he's sitting back to drop a pass. He can make one man miss. He can walk right up to the line of scrimmage, and then he can dump one over the top of you to a wide open receiver. He has eyes behind his head. He's very Burrow-esque in that sense of seeing the field. You have to tackle him. You cannot take him down with one arm. He's a little dude, but he gets away. Like you have to sure tackle him every single time. So it's going to take that from those 3. If those 3, like you said, Baskerville, Ojulari, and Perkins, if they can play fast and they can play smooth, and they can play physical, that was a ode to Brian Kelly there. We're going to have a good game on defense. I really think Matt House. I mean, Tennessee's offense is better than Alabama's offense. Like we've seen the best offense we're going to play all season. And there was multiple drives where we had stops. I mean, there was multiple drives where Greg Brooks was in the backfield. Hell, one of which he forced a turnover on Hendon Hooker. We just didn't take advantage of any of those. You have to take advantage of it against Alabama. If you have a strip sack, you have to recover that fumble. If you have a play breakup where there's a ball in the air where you can make an interception, you got to come down with that, Sage Ryan. There's no more, oh, I dropped an interception. Like we have to come up with the turnovers that are created because of our execution and our game plan. That's the key. We're going to have a game plan. If you execute it perfectly, you're going to have opportunities for turnovers. You have to capitalize on those turnovers. That's the key on defense, in my opinion.
Yeah, and we have to hope that for the first time in what feels like a decade, we didn't feel like we were going to get completely out game planned in the bye week. One of my favorite things about Bryce Young, like the thing that I feel like makes him different than a lot of these other guys, is whenever he like gets out of the pocket, he's so calm and he just takes forever to like let a receiver get open, let a corner decide, well, I'm going to go hit the quarterback. It's like he can just take forever. And my hope is that with Harold Perkins chasing from behind, he's not going to have that ability. But I don't know. I think like you said, man, if these guys, if I think Brian Kelly said it in the Ole Miss game, if LSU's best players play really well, have good games, we will be in this game in the 4th quarter.
Yep, and that's all you can ask for. We want a 4-quarter game. We don't want a blowout. We don't want all this hype going into the LSU Bama game and come out and just lay an egg and look embarrassing and just everybody walk out and saying like, "Oh, it's year 1. It is what it is. Our season's over. It was a good year."
And then go play an 11 a.m.
11 a.m. at Arkansas. Yeah, that's not a good game.
You lose those 2 in a row, everyone calls you fraud. You're out of the top 25, and it's like, let's make fun of Brian Kelly's accent again. Where's the picture? Hey, and like you said, be ready.
I don't see that. I don't. And
I
like,
agree.
that's the thing is I feel like we have
Scar tissue.
Yeah, man. Like we're so used to this We're so used to this that we can't allow ourselves to kind of, hey, maybe things are changing for the better in this program.
Mhm.
Dude, walking out of that Superdome with you after the Florida State game, this is not at all what I expected to be talking about come Bama week. Not at all.
No.
Um,
I thought we'd be hiding.
yeah, I mean, so expect the unexpected. And it's because of our preparation. It's because of the changing of that culture, the changing of the tide. Could it be a sign? Did we follow the signs? Are we going to
Do
wax
we?
dude, as a wax and gibbous, wax and give? So I think Jahmyr Gibbs and Bryce Young are the factors on offense. Obviously, we're going to get stung every now and then by some true freshman wide receiver from Louisiana, like Kendrick Law or one of the other 5 that decided to leave us. And it's going to sting for a second. We're going to have Ricks versus Booty. That's going to be an interesting matchup. And I hope, right now, going into this week, I trust Booty. I trust Kayshawn over Ricks, and it's because he's bought in and he's received the coaching. What a great matchup of guys that were almost in the same boat last season. Of hey, we're all Americans, and guess what? We can hit the portal and go to Bama. One of them did. And then one of them stayed, and it was a rough outing in the beginning of the season, but he's turned a corner and he's found a spot on this team to utilize his skills in a different way than we're used to. We're spreading the ball out, but whenever Booty gets a chance, I think in these big games, he's going to make plays. I also think Jack Besh breaks out.
I was waiting for it, Michael.
I think
Please.
I think this is the best game. I
I disagree, but yes, go on.
I went back and watched several games from last season, getting Besh involved. He's so explosive, but he's an emotional player. He's somebody that plays with a chip on his shoulder. Not right now this season, he's been playing with a chip on his back. But I think that he is at a point where it's mental mistakes and he's hungry. I think this is a kid that wants to burst on the scene. I went back and watched how he fumbled that ball against Tennessee, and you look at the burst that he had going into that ball. The dude wants to score every time, and he's got out in front of himself. He's trying to do too much, but I think if this kid gets the opportunity, he's going to make plays, and I think he's one of those kids that just big plays get made by big time players in big time games. I think Besh turns the corner, and we sit back and say, oh God, dude, of course. Like this was the dude going into the season that we thought was going to be neck and neck with Booty. Like the dude's going to make plays. If he's going to break out, it's this game. It's 7 p.m. It's under the lights. It's Tiger Stadium against Alabama. I think Besh has a huge game, and it's with his hands. I think he comes up with some sure receptions. I think he's a red zone nightmare. I think he's explosive. I think he's somebody that sets us up field position wise with redeeming qualities. I think the game is decided though. If we don't have anything go our way, the game is decided with special teams. I think Kool-Aid McKintry, I think is how you pronounce his name. That dude can return the ball. That dude can return the ball pretty well. I know they had JoJo Earl before he was injured, returning punts and kicks. I think he is back as well. They have excellent field position throughout the season.
LSU has dog shit field position.
McKintry's like 4th in the country in punt returns.
Right. So if they are set up with good field position, they're going to score points, whether that's field goals or touchdowns. They're going to get points on the board. We cannot allow them to do that. That's the difference in this game is field position, and that will be decided upon on how we execute our special teams. If we can't play neck and neck with their special teams, we're not going to pull out this victory. That's just the way it is. We're going to have to play the best game we've played on offense and on defense to overcome that. And I just don't see that happening with all 3 phases. If we do, this is an LSU victory. This is a home field advantage. This is an ascending team that can pull out the victory. I just think special teams right now, we don't have the dudes. We don't have. I know I'm like jumping ahead already to give a prediction.
No. I just hate declaring victory against a Nick Saban Alabama team. That's all. Just like if we do this, I said I just hate declaring victory against a Saban Alabama team, just because it doesn't happen too often. And
it doesn't
you're
happen
just over here
often,
like if this happens, it's over.
What else is there to talk about? I could go on
I
here and
know.
say, look, Bama's going to beat us because they're better, but this is how you win. If we're going to win, this is how it's going to happen. You can't let McKinstry, whatever, run up and down the sideline on punt return because they're going to
Kool-Aid.
get stops on you. They're going to
Yeah. No,
stop you. You're going to have to punt the football.
yeah, I think starting field position is definitely going to be a big factor in this game. I think I saw LSU was like, I think it was on Josh Pate. It was like hundredth in the country in like starting field position. So like obviously,
124. Yeah.
yeah, not great, not great. And Alabama, like you said, is normally a team that can get you some yards on special teams and put their offense in a good spot. Look at that, another dog entering the studio.
Is that me?
Um,
Oh,
It's
to
me.
go back to kind of just circle back to the whole Jack Bash thing. It's like I'm not positive that it's gonna be this like worldly game of 120 yards and target him like he's Mason Taylor and get 27 targets in the game. But I do kind of think he's going to come up with one of those like massive third downs. He's going to be the guy that like pulls down that one toe tap in the back of the end zone that just ties the game up and gets everyone going nuts. Like I do think he plays a big role in this game. I just don't know that it's like a quantity thing.
look, man, this isn't based on statistics. This was a dream. This was a sign. This was, well, damn, where's he been? And there's been a lot of talk about how he's back full go. I just it's I feel like that always happens with LSU. We always have one of those guys that just goes silent, and then all of a sudden, the back half of the season, you're just like, oh yeah, forgot about this asshole. Like, where's he been all season? And it's like he takes over, and you kind of forget the first half of the season. I think this is a tale of two different teams. LSU has been a tale of two different teams this year, and I think it's still evolving. We're still writing this book of year one under Brian Kelly, and it's been a fun one to watch. Listen, whatever happened Saturday, this has been a really fun season to pay attention to and to watch the ebbs and flows of how you rebuild a program. Getting us to the point of being ranked in the college football playoffs at number 10 in the initial rankings, I never would have thought that earlier in the year. I do think it's warranted. I think there is a lot of teams around that 10 range that are very similar to us, but I like how the committee awarded us for our progression and didn't just look at Florida State or the blowout against Tennessee. They actually looked at who we are as a team that is getting better and better each week, and really looked at who we had on the field against some of those teams and where we were. So
Could they have put LSU 12? Sure. Could they
yeah,
have put LSU 14? Yes, sure. But like you said, I mean, they're more looking at how the team has progressed and what is in week 8 or week 10, whatever the fuck week we're in, what are the top 10, the top 20 best teams in the country? And LSU kind of gets almost like a half loss for that Florida State because everyone who's watched any of these games, and pretty much everyone was watching the Florida State one, a lot of people probably wrote LSU off and still haven't seen LSU play since that Florida State game around the country. And they think, oh, yeah, but, Ole Miss may be overrated. Florida sucks. Like, Florida is at that point where, like you said, no matter what happens on Saturday, like the way this team is going, the foundational way the locker room is going up, and it's trending in as good a way as you could have ever hoped for preseason, and especially after that Florida State game. And then you look at a team like Florida where it looks like it's going the wrong way after a Utah win to start the season. And it's like, yeah, I don't care what happens. I don't care if Bryce Young dimes us up and looks like the Heisman Trophy winner again. Like this team,
because he is.
What's being built here is a national championship contender. It just may not be today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I never thought that we'd have a chance to say those things going into this year. We're way ahead of schedule, but I do think with all that being said, we still have a chance to win. And like that's the wild part is like LSU definitely has a chance to beat Alabama this season.
If Texas A&M can have one throw to beat Bama at Bama, this LSU team can beat Alabama at home.
Texas with a backup quarterback lost to him by a point. I mean, like it took a last-second field goal to beat Texas.
Don't forget that Arkansas came storming back in the third quarter too and made them look, they were on the ropes.
Without Bryce Young, though. But you're right. Their defense is definitely vulnerable.
And also Alabama can show that they're still Alabama and be able to put up 49 points or whatever it was and had a kick that probably should have won the game against Tennessee. It's like they're still really good. They're still extremely beatable. This is as beatable as a team of a Bama team as we've played in a while.
Like I said before we recorded, 15, 10, 17. Those three numbers are the amount of penalties Bama has accrued over the 3 road games that they've had. They absolutely can be shaken. And that's the difference of this Alabama team, is that they make mistakes. They drop passes.
False starts.
They have false starts. Will Anderson lined up in the neutral zone 3 times. Like they have mental mistakes.
He's lining up off sides.
The devil's advocate to that is they're also well coached. They also get better, right?
They
So
also
like
have a bye week.
right, like that's the only difference is I do believe LSU is going to fix their problems and continue to get better. Bama's going to do the same thing. They're going to fix their problems and continue to get better. You know, they know what they have to do. It's championship or bust for Bama. They're ranked number 6. They're freaking out. Like they have to win this game in order to satisfy contracts and their crazy fan base. Like this is a must win for Alabama, and they know, they respect us. I really do feel like Nick Saban understands the momentum of college football, and we have a lot of momentum. Right, momentum is everything in college football. We have a massive amount of momentum right now. Can you hold on to that? Can you harness that momentum and execute, or is it going to be too much for you? You know, I honestly think that Tennessee's #1 ranking might be something that shakes a little bit of that momentum for Tennessee against Georgia. It's about coaching. It's about keeping your guys focused and knowing that you still have got a handful of games left before we enter the last season of the season, which is the playoff season. LSU is not there yet, but we have momentum riding and we have an opportunity at home with all the factors playing in our favor. Just like the Ole Miss setup, it was just working out in our favor how that worked out for us. And we executed and we came out ahead like we should have. Alabama, it's the same type of feel, except they have a bye week to prepare. They are a top team with a returning Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback, and the best coach of all time on the sideline. So it's a huge feat. Like, make no mistake, there's a lot of hype going into
Did
this game.
Alabama hire Jimbo Fisher?
Right. Well, you know, if money would have its way, Jimbo, he would have been on either sideline. We almost
Look,
tried to
we
get
can
Jimbo. Thank
we can
God we didn't.
table this for later, but the game on the line, like one drive for all your marbles, and ESPN cutting away to Pete Thamel explaining how and why Texas A&M can't fire, which, like, tell these fuckers they can't, for one, but like, and then just going back to like it was breaking news. Like he was like at a set. I was
Well, he
dying. I
literally
was
had a
dying.
pulse on everybody's conversations. He like bumped in. He's like, "Chill out. He's not going anywhere. Like, put your phone down." You
Dude,
know?
it felt it felt so fake. Like it felt like I was watching a movie about some cheesy like college football thing.
I feel like we were like just talking about it when it happened too.
Yeah,
It's
oh
pretty
yeah,
funny.
because they had mentioned it like 3 times already in the game. Anyway, back to we still got a little LSU talk before we
We have to start fast. We have to start
yeah.
fast.
So
We cannot get in a hole against Alabama like we did against Tennessee. The game will be over early if that happens.
I'm extremely curious, for every game LSU's played, they've been the better conditioned team. They've been fresher in the fourth quarter. I'm very, very curious to see how that plays out. Like who's the team in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be, like I said, dude, it's going to be a 4-quarter game. So it's going to matter. You're going to have those guys fresh all the way to that last field goal, all the way to that last 2-point conversion. I mean, like LSU is always in the game in the fourth quarter, fighting. They're not just folding their tents. And this is going to be one of those games that I think it's going to come down to that. I think it's going to be a 10-point game or so in the fourth quarter, and it's going to be a battle till the end. I like our chances. I think that conditioning wise, we do have good chances to hang in there with those guys. Alabama has been very vulnerable mentally. Like we talked about, the penalties, the lack of focus, going on the ropes against Texas A&M, against Arkansas. Like they played down to their competition, and it's hard to get them motivated. That's the only thing that scares me a little bit is that this number 6 ranking, this, hey, they have to play their way back in it. I think that might wake them up a little bit, and so we have to be on our A game. We have to be woken up. We will be, though. I have no doubt that Brian Kelly is preparing this team for this moment, and our guys are going to be ready. We just can't psych ourselves out in the first quarter. We have to execute. They talked about
Brian Kelly's thinking about quizzes before the game.
Right. That's exactly what I was going to bring. Quizzes and practicing live session for the first 20 minutes of practice. Like they're switching things up because something isn't working when it comes to the first quarter. Like it's a different team every game. It's a different team in the second half.
I am worried about that. I am worried about the team coming out and with a little bit of big eyes, because walking down the hill at LSU is cool. Walking down the hill at LSU when Nick Saban's in town is a whole different ball game. You can't find a place to even see the players. Like, it's not even worth going as a fan, and yet there's going to be 30,000, 20,000, however many people can fit. And it's just it's different when those doors open in that tunnel and that noise comes through right before you run out. It's going to feel different. So I'm excited.
We need to continue like we have been the past couple of weeks. The biggest difference between the past couple of weeks, other than just us executing, our suicide attempts have dropped dramatically. Like we are not putting the gun to our head all throughout the game like we used to. If we can't do that against Alabama. You can't do that coming out, getting a nice drive going, and then walking back and putting that shotgun on your foot. It's over because they're going to capitalize on it.
Well, and Grant has some stats up here on the live stream saying LSU +3 in the turnover margin, Alabama -4 in the turnover margin. That's what's going to have to play out. Like, LSU is going to have to get a takeaway or two. Jaden Daniels is going to have to keep protecting the ball like he has all season. You can't fumble on a run because you're trying to get an extra yard, and Bama players are a little different than Ole Miss defensive players. It's like that's the type of things that will lose you these games, and Alabama always seems to make the play, and the ball seems to roll in their favor. They're opportunistic like that. Don't give them the opportunity.
This Alabama team, we go back to saying that they are beatable, and I don't want anybody to get it twisted here. I think Alabama right now is the better team. I think they're more talented than us. They have Bryce Young. But I do believe they're more beatable than if this game was LSU versus Georgia, if this was LSU versus Ohio State. I think they're Tennessee all over again. Alabama is more beatable than those teams. If you play your best, you have a chance to beat this team at home. And I just want to see that. I want to see our guys play to the best of their potential on a Saturday night ESPN game with all eyes on it. Coming off of a wonderful CBS game, which I anticipate Georgia versus Tennessee being incredible. I think that's going to be an amazing game. You finish that, you roll right into ESPN, LSU versus Bama. Like, everyone in the world is going to be watching that.
I'm worried there's going to be overlap, and we're going to have to like switch off the last 6 minutes of this incredible Tennessee game, or put it on the iPad or the second screen just
there will absolutely be. There will absolutely be. CBS games, average 8 hours?
Like 8 hours, 8.5. Well,
eight
then
and
you
a
have the Gary podcast afterwards.
Yeah, you got to get that in before you can watch anything else. I think the difference this year, though, man, it's Brian Kelly. That's the difference this season. We have preparation and thought going into our bye week. We have a purpose going into this Bama game. It's not just beat Alabama. It is, hey, we can go represent the West in Atlanta. Like that. We have something to play for. And I think that's the biggest difference this season under a proven coach and an ascending team that is healthy. Like we've got our guys healthy again.
Bunch of healthy guys this week.
And we're ready to roll.
Yeah, it's going to be a great experience. Like, I'm excited that Brian Kelly's going to get to coach in this game. I'm excited that guys like Will Campbell and Emory Jones are going to be able to like experience what this 6 versus 10 matchup looks like, what the standard in the SEC is. Like, you want to be the team, you want to be, Harold Perkins, you want to be the team that's in the SEC championship 5 out of every 6 years. That's what you have to do. Go out and beat those
Yeah.
guys. If you can beat those guys, you can be in the national champ. You can be in the playoff every year if you can go out and impose your will and be the better, fresher, more talented, not even more talented, better executed team.
You
Go
remember
out and
when
do it.
when the roles were reversed? When Nick first went to Alabama and
And Les was just
right. And that first season we beat him, but it was like, damn, something's
yeah,
up here. I don't like
closer than the experts think.
right, like something's going on here. And then they came back to our stadium the following year and they beat us. And it was one of those deals where like this could be a back and forth thing every year. We may not be the name of the West forever anymore. And it turns out we weren't. But I think Nick definitely looks at Brian Kelly and his potential at LSU as somebody to contend with. That's why I think he's going to take this week very seriously. And I think Brian Kelly is as well, because I think this is the future battle of the SEC West every year moving forward. And it starts this Saturday. Do I think that means we come out and win right out of the gate the first season?
Probably not.
Probably not. But I do think this is a game that we're going to circle and say, this was a very competitive game for 4 quarters. This was the beginning of this back and forth matchup until Saban left.
First time since 2006 that one of the teams is not ranked in the top 5.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but I can't. I mean,
they are a top 5.
But you got to get this off my screen. Like, this is not giving me confidence here to pick LSU. There's a lot of fucking red on this screen, Grant.
Yeah,
that's who they've been, man. That's who they've been. It's been tough, but I mean, look at some of these scores. I mean, 20-14 last season.
There's been LSU has given Alabama a great game in games that no one's ever given them a chance in. Like, it's just, and I know, like you said, it's different. It's not a Les Miles. It's not a Mad Hatter type of thing. Speaking
no, because
of that,
people are giving us a chance. That's the difference. It's like, whoa, we're expected to perform now. What's that going to do? Speaking of what, Les?
well, I was gonna say, like, do you think we have a trick play in the bag? But I am
100%.
I am
is it a
interested
fake?
to see.
Is it a special teams trick?
There's zero chance you let Polian have fucking keys to that.
Yeah, you're right. You're right.
Like,
I don't
unless
think so.
unless you're willing to bring Polian in your office and be like, look, this may not end up being your fault, but if this goes wrong, I will have to fire you. If he's cool with that, then I'm down with giving special teams the one play. But
we don't want to give Ramos the ball. Like
I was gonna say, like, he's gonna give it. He's not even gonna do like a traditional fake. It's gonna be like Ramos trying to like truck it into the end zone on a 2-point.
Like Oklahoma, he saw the
Venables, dude. Like, I literally saw that and immediately was like, dear God, if we tried to run that fucking play.
How about Kiffin running a fake on his own 10?
Dude, that's why I love Kiffin. I mean, look, man, I'm so happy with where we're at with Brian Kelly, but I signed me up for the Kiffin experience. I think that would have been fucking fun. But that's just what it is, man. Lane does what Lane does.
No, Lane does what he does. Yeah, say what you will about Lane Kiffin. You got to respect his transparency and he's very genuine in who he is. He's going to do whatever he says he's going to do, and he's going to call a spade a spade. He doesn't do coach talk. I like that about Lane Kiffin, and I do like how he runs his offense.
And I mean, he's gonna troll anybody at any given time, and it's like, whatever,
sure.
Dude,
He's
just throwing jabs at Jimbo.
I think that's your succession plan in Alabama, though, and that's what scares the shit out of me.
Yeah, but like
Lane's going to be in the SEC forever.
Yeah, Lane. Yeah, unless some NFL team wants to like pay him a bag, which it doesn't make sense.
I think
or he gets like
he can get the same salary in the college. Like,
oh yeah, he would get paid more, I'm sure. Yeah, but like Lane at Alabama, I feel like there's that chance that it like just doesn't go right, and then they just like turn on him immediately, and he has that face where it's like it's easy to leave him on a fucking tarmac at an airport.
Whoever takes over, that's going to happen to them. Whoever, it doesn't matter who it is. No one's ever going to be able to get to the level that Nick got them at consistently. They're going to walk in and have a couple
not
good.
The next coach.
Alabama fans are already trying to like say Saban's over the hill because they lost to Tennessee. Like it's just that's the way it is. The message boards. I've been digging deep into the message boards this week, and
there's some gold, some altars in there.
Well, there definitely could have been. We don't know for sure. What do you? How do you think the O-line's gonna hold up?
You know, Dallas Turner and Will Anderson, two of the best pass rushers in the league, going against two true freshmen.
That's why I asked.
Yeah, that's going to be a huge test for them. On paper, you call that a whopping W for Alabama. I do think it's a unique situation though, because on paper, it's not supposed to work. We're not supposed to have Emory Jones and Will Campbell being as good as they are this season. So again, expect the unexpected. I think they perform good. I don't think they perform bad. I think you need a great performance from our O-line, though, in order to keep Jaden Daniels safe. I think Jaden, his feet, though, I think are gonna be the difference. Though I think he's actually going to be able to escape a lot of this pressure. I'm more worried about the interior. I really think that the focus is going to be a lot on Dallas Turner and Will Anderson, and a lot of that we're going to game plan for that. I think we're going to try to spread our splits out a little bit.
That's kind of what I was going to ask you is, do you think we're going to have to like game plan it to where there's a tight end on the side?
Yes,
And
I think we're going to have extra blockers in there.
More protective fronts? Because that's how I feel like it could be frustrating as a fan watching games like that, where it's like you absolutely, I get you have to bring those extra blockers, but then you're playing Alabama with like 2-man routes, and like that's shit. That's what worries me.
That and exactly, but I think that's what it's going to be. I think you're going to have multiple. I think you're going to have Cole and Mason, and you have both Taylors in the game, adding some protection in there. But the problem is you're gonna need both, because you can't slide protect just Dallas Turner, because you got to deal with Will Anderson. And then you spread that out a little bit, and then all of a sudden you've got your interior guys. You got some safety blitzes coming over the top. You got to make catches. You got it. Like, we're going to be throwing the ball quickly in this game. We have to come down with these quick catches. The passes that Booty is dropping every now and then, these quick slants that are thrown too hard to him.
No more.
He's got to come down with them. You know, the game against Florida where he came down with a lot of those difficult catches in traffic, that's what we need from Kayshawn in this game. That's what we're going to need to move the chains. Take advantage of that pass rush. Let's do some draws. Let's get Jaden Daniels moving. And I think they're going to have to respect that. They might have to do what we did. I forgot who we did it against. But we might have to do a lot of that cage rush. There's that protection. That's what they're going to have to do with us, where those defensive ends are not going to be crashing so hard. They're going to be playing more contain and not letting
Jaden getting out of the pocket.
Right. Yeah. And then bait him into that middle. I think that's going to be kind of the game plan. So with that, let's get our running backs out in the flats. Let's get our guys moving quick. Let's throw some screens. Let's
run some zone reads. Make those dudes make decisions. Like, hey, you know how to stop Will Anderson is just make him make a decision, and he's wrong no matter what he chooses.
Let's run some option into the boundary. You know, let's bring it back to the good old days.
It has weirdly worked against Alabama in the past.
Yeah, it's all about execution. It's all about being physical, because that you can be physical against this Alabama defense. They're vulnerable. You know, this is not. If you go back and look at some Alabama highlights that we're so used to seeing from like 2014, 2012, 2016, 17, it's 18, a different defense. 20. Recently it's a lack of physicality. They're still great. Don't get me wrong. These are still 5 stars, the best in the country. But there is a little more of we've got Bryce Young. We've got Tua. You know, it's not on us.
There was a time that you knew Alabama was going to beat you because you couldn't score on them.
Exactly.
Now you have to worry about Alabama outscoring you.
Right. And and the defense knows that. Like, they know they have that cushion because they have some sick playmakers and a Heisman Trophy contender, or defending Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback. So you can move the ball on them. You can out physical them if you display your will, if you put the pedal to the metal, man. And I think we've done that. Like, we have seen this offense start to do that. If they can continue their ascent, that's the thing. Continue what you've been doing, you have a chance.
Pick up third downs. Just make these guys stay on the field. Keep Bryce Young on the sidelines with a headset on. Like, we don't have to score touchdowns every time. We don't have to. I would like us to not get into a field goal match, because kicking field goals against Alabama normally doesn't work. But it's like, just get first downs. Like, these dudes will tire out. They will start to break. They will get frustrated. Let's try to take advantage of Eli Ricks getting a little too excited and run a double move on him and see what happens. I don't know, man. I'm
I
just
think we're going to take
very.
shots. I think we're going to try to get Jaden comfortable right out of the gate. And how do you get a guy comfortable right out of the gate? I think you need to build his confidence by completing some passes. I
Do you
think we're
take
going
the
to
ball?
no.
Kick. Still just defer.
Yes, I still defer
Which
because
he
we're a
he
second
he
half
still
team.
hasn't. Last week
No,
was
I agree.
Ole Miss was they won the toss and they took the ball. So I'm hoping we defer.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have the ball in the second half. I think we're going to need all the help we can get as the game progresses. So that's why I would defer. I'd set the tone on defense. I'd get those guys out there and get a nice stop against Bryce Young.
I
See
know.
if we can do
Can
that.
we get a stop to
First
start the
quarter stop
game?
would be amazing.
That
Yeah.
would be a huge step
I
in the
don't know
right
if
direction.
we haven't
It's
done
just
that against like a real team this year. I
No,
don't
we
think.
have not.
there's just nothing worse than like having an electric atmosphere and then just having the team just march it down your throat and score 5-minute drive. You're like, okay, well,
Let's go to work. But like
Yeah.
that, and that's the pressure's on. That's when Jaden Daniels and those guys are like, "Hey, I got to make plays now."
do
I
you
would,
think we'll be able to run the ball?
um, we have to. They're like,
I meant running backs. I think Daniels
yeah,
will
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah.
will yeah.
We have to be able to run the ball without just Jaden Daniels' legs. Like we need to be able to push it with Armani and with Josh. I think if Josh Williams and Armani have great games, I'm not expecting too much out of John Emery. I think he's going to be his steady back, but you need that tough burst yardage from Goodwin. You need some Goodwin good runs. And you need
It's been too long since we've had a Goodwin good runs.
yeah, you need some tough Armani Goodwin good runs, and you need Josh Williams to be that nose on the ground that's going to get you those few yards, that is going to burst through the correct hole and
Fall
secure the
forward every
football, fall
time.
forward. Yeah, eat up yardage. If we got that going for us, and they have to put people in there and respect it, you can have some games. You can have some matchups because their DBs are very suspect too. Like they have given up a ton of yardage through the air. You can pass the ball on them. We have great receivers. The matchup, receivers versus DB, it's a nice matchup. I mean, but you can say that about plenty of teams with our wide receivers. Are they going to catch the football? Are we going to give Jaden time to scan the field and let it rip? Is Jaden Daniels going to have the confidence against a big team like Alabama to let it rip? That's the difference. If Jaden psychs himself out, this is going to be a long fucking night. But I think if he's comfortable,
Put
he's
in Walker
confident,
Howard.
right?
Walker Howard's the quarterback next year. I guarantee it.
If he's confident and comfortable, this is going to be a hell of a game to watch. And
I
I think the defense is going to be fine. I don't think it's going to be a runaway train. I think
this defense settles in.
yeah,
They
they settle
in.
and I'm not worried. Like even if Bryce Young and Gibbs and they come out and they march down the field and get up 7-0 on us, 9-0 on us, whatever. I'm okay. I think our defense is going to clamp down and get us back in the game. I would rather us start off hot though. And I think if it's any game, dude, if it's any game that Brian Kelly is going to get this team and figure out what's been wrong, let's do it now. I think it happens now. I think it happens this Saturday. So I'm excited for a really good battle.
I think this team just needs that one play. Like they just need that one interception on the first drive. Like something to be like, oh, it's flipped. It's like
Or
it
against
just
Tennessee, like whenever Dre Jenkins dropped that wide open, they hit him right in the hands, and he's streaking into the end zone, momentum flipper going into halftime. Like we need to come down with those balls, and you can learn from your mistakes. You've been given opportunities. Now you have a chance at sitting at number 10, playing Alabama at home to really win the West right now. Who can come down with the big plays? You've seen us blow those opportunities and blow those chances. If we can come down with them, if we can come down with those big plays, you can win this ball game.
can we pull up the top 25 again? We got to figure out where LSU sits if they beat Bama.
6.
I mean 6 was kind of how I felt, but like so obviously the winner of the Tennessee Georgia game stays.
Winner of Tennessee Georgia goes to
They might
1,
flip
right?
spots.
Yeah.
If they're 1-3, they're going to go to 3-1.
Yeah, but I mean, they're staying in the top 5. They would still be
They're
ahead of
staying in the
LSU is
top
where I was
4 or 5.
going.
Correct.
Yeah. LSU would jump USC,
So
Oregon,
they'd be right
TCU.
at 6. TCU, obviously the committee, they might throw TCU a pity vote.
Depending on how we would beat Bama, we might jump to 5. I mean, if they moved us from 18 to 10 just by a bye week,
I just don't see us jumping.
I thought this was the first playoff. We didn't get jumped that high. The AP and the coaches poll still have us down there. They barely jumped from the
right. But the only one that matters is the committee.
Well, I know, but they didn't have a poll last week, so they didn't jump anybody. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I don't know.
I think we sit at 6 because I think we just basically flip flop with Alabama. I think
you
Alabama
can't-
would drop like 10.
Yeah, you can't. An LSU 6-2 LSU above Michigan would just be
No, they're
funny.
They're not going to do it.
It would just be so funny. Like, you imagine the outrage. I would call in. I would find as many Big Ten shows as I could to just listen to the rants about a 6-2 team.
Oh no, I totally understand. But I mean, you'd put us at 6, and if you win out, or 6 or 7, yeah. If you win out though, that's when you start jumping people.
If you win out, you got to hope that Michigan and Clemson each lose one game.
You don't have to. You don't have to want fuck. If you win if LSU wins the SEC, I don't care if it's 4. They are in the playoffs. They don't need any help. LSU controls their own destiny.
They may be top 4 before any of that even happens because Ohio State and Michigan play each other. They one of those has to lose. Think about
TCU's gonna lose. Yeah, well, that doesn't matter. Yeah, well, TCU's gonna be the oddball out, possibly.
Tennessee or Georgia is gonna have 1 loss. Ohio State and Michigan are gonna have 1 loss.
I want it. I want the chaos.
It's not gonna happen, but
it's gonna be so sad looking back on this when we're playing in like the fucking Alamo Bowl in a month or 2
against Tulane.
If this is the peak of the year, this has been a hell of a year, guys.
No, it's been fun.
We're riding,
dude. I mean, seriously, the rankings don't matter, but if you could have predicted that we would have a top 10 matchup in Tiger Stadium against Bama week 10.
It's awesome.
No, I know, but like I wanted to really saw that. I wanted to see us being 10th, you know.
No, I've always been pro playoff committee. Like they have great minds in the room, ADs across the country that know nothing but ball. Like these guys eat and ladies, shout out Condoleezza Rice. They eat, sleep, breathe college football, and I think they did a great job with the first college football rankings like they always do.
The first ones are typically just a nice little mirror image of the AP. They usually just kind of like they do something wild at number 1. They like to like fuck around and be like, yeah, Tennessee number 1, and then they're gonna have Georgia beat them, and then they can be like, later, Tennessee, you had your fun.
It cracks me up thinking about like everyone in the room understands that like all we give a fuck is who's the best 4 teams in the country, right? And it just imagining them having conversations of NC State at 20 instead of 18 is hilarious to me.
It's just not happening.
It's
like
so
I feel like
funny.
they get to that point in the list. They're just like, I don't give a fuck. Like throw in whatever.
Eating, like they're already done eating the meal that was brought in. Like they don't even have any fries left. Like it just cracks.
I feel like the conversation stops at like 6. And then after that, they're just like, Dave, you watch this more than us. Put it together.
It's like I don't have a strong opinion on this, man. Fuck it. Oklahoma State. That's fine. They're a little worse than UNC.
So Brian Landry with the comment, what's up, guys? Do you think the 10 ranking is just a ploy to set up Bama with the top 10 win? It almost seems premature to be ranked that high. I disagree. I can definitely see that angle, and I understand why you would think that, because I do think the media loves Alabama. It's great for television, and they want to do their best to make sure the revenue is moving in with the big blue bloods. But if you look at that,
what's different. I just don't know what's different if LSU's 12.
Right. And the thing is, like, even Alabama doesn't need help. Like, it doesn't matter what, like, if Bama wins out, like, they're going to be number 1. Like, there's such a Bama bias. It doesn't matter what LSU is ranked. But I also think, like, right now in that playoff picture, you've got blue bloods, you've got new blood, which people want. Like, you don't need Bama in that. So I don't think they really need to like conjure up some fake shit to get Bama in there. For us to be 10, I don't think it's too high. I think it's warranted. I think you are being rewarded for improving your play throughout the season with
and
a
other
team,
teams not playing well,
right?
too.
With a team that's pieced together by transfers and true freshmen. I mean, like this is a pat on the back to Brian Kelly and be like, hey, dude, great job up to this point. Here's a top 10 ranking. Hopefully you can figure it out the rest of the way. You know,
you're not going to get coach of the year, but please have this number 10 ranking.
Yeah, you have something to play for, and you can actually show the kids like, hey guys, please keep believing in what we're telling you, because look what we've done already. Like, you have an opportunity to be in a great bowl game. Not that that matters anymore, but you have an opportunity to play for the West right now. You know, get past.
So
Bama.
there's 5 teams in the country that control their own destiny: Tennessee, Ohio State, and Georgia. Any of those teams win out, they're in. Clemson doesn't control their own destiny. Michigan does not. I guess Michigan is one, because
Michigan,
if they beat
and
Ohio State, they're in. And then it's Alabama and LSU. That's it. Oregon, USC, TCU, and Clemson do not control their own destiny. Any of the other teams win out, like, it's a
fact that
guarantee.
TCU is ranked 7th this week proves that.
Yeah, I mean, dude, they'll just fucking put TCU 5 like they did a few years ago. Like, there's no doubt in my mind.
TCU's TCU. Something's gonna happen with TCU.
They're gonna lose. I hope.
Yeah, they've had a great year, but it's the Big 12, dude. Big 12 is the most unpredictable shit show. Like, anything can happen in that conference.
Say Georgia beats a Tennessee, and Tennessee's sitting at home with 1 loss, and there's an undefeated TCU versus Tennessee. Who are they going to put in the 4 spot?
Tennessee.
Way more.
1,000 times over at
Hendon Hooker winning the Heisman. Like,
do you think he can lose? Like, do you think even? I think
he
with
can lose.
Loss,
Yeah, I think
Hooker can still win the Heisman. Yeah, I think it's still his.
I think the only competition there is CJ Stroud right now, because I think Bryce Young kind of blew it with his injury and sitting out and all that good stuff.
You think Caleb Williams is going to get some late push? I do.
Yeah, dude, I really wanted to make that bet before the season, but I don't think it's all. This is the month, though. This is the month where, like, those contenders.
Look at that, Michael. It's beautiful.
It is still.
Bo Nix 25-1. That's beautiful. It's the highest Bo Nix's Heisman odds have been since before he took a snap at Auburn.
Hooker, Stroud, Williams, and that's it. I think it's just those 3. I don't think Corum. I just don't see a running back, especially the Michigan running back.
I think Hooker would have to be, like, demonstratively bad, like lose 2 games here on out to lose it. Like, I think it's done.
I think Young still could win it. You know, like,
Young has to. No, I agree. I think those odds for Young, it's pretty wild.
0 chance. He's not going to have the stats, and they're just not going to give it to him again when he played worse.
It's just not going to happen. He would have to, controlling his own destiny, he would have to, like, go all the way and destroy us and destroy everyone.
If he destroys everyone from here on out, yeah, I think he definitely has an opportunity.
But that also means Hooker would have to take steps back,
and he would, because they would beat Hooker in the SEC championship. And Bryce
Jaden Daniels has as much chance as Bryce Young to win the Heisman. I will stamp that.
I think Bryce Young is. I think Bryce Young's the best quarterback outside of Hendon Hooker. And I think
I agree with you. This doesn't matter for the Heisman. I mean, look at the stats he put up last year. I know he missed games, but it's just like they're not going to look anywhere near as good, and they already lost. And it's like, to win back-to-back Heismans, like Tebow had a decent year after, I think, Manziel, whatever. It's like you have to be so much better for them to, like, give it to you twice. They're just not going to do it.
Mood point, Hendon Hooker and CJ Stroud are the guys. I mean, like, here's the
just
deal.
One.
Yeah, Hendon Hooker and CJ Stroud. I think if listen, if Hooker loses to Georgia and CJ Stroud and Ohio State go undefeated and have a great game against Michigan, like, it could be CJ's. So I think Hooker deserves it. I think he's playing lights out right now. And I think he's the sole reason you've got the whole comparative 2019 Joe Burrow talk. It's because of Hendon Hooker coming out of nowhere as a transfer with this crew, and he just plays lights out every game.
Yeah, good for Tennessee. I don't know.
CJ's got the benefit of the doubt to play with a lot of sick receivers and a really, really good running back. Tennessee doesn't have that. Tennessee has a really good quarterback that knows how to distribute the ball. I think it should go to Hooker, but you never know. Could be Stetson Bennett.
I don't think so.
That was a joke.
No, I'm excited. I know. I'm excited for the Tennessee-Georgia game. Like, it's one of those games that I hope it just, like, halfway lives up to the hype, kinda how I feel about the LSU game. Like, I just wanna see a really competitive matchup, and Georgia -8 seems like too many to me.
I kinda wish Notre Dame was better, so the Clemson-Notre Dame game meant something.
Yeah. That would be nice. They might
That'd be a fun knockoff.
Honestly, that would be a fun game for Notre Dame to win, even though I'm like hating.
Oh yeah, it'd be a nice.
I feel like they could win that game.
It would be an ultimate
-3.5
of the week.
The fact that I should have known they were going to beat Syracuse. They cost Syracuse. They cost me $100.
That just wouldn't be great for you. Put $100 up on Syracuse.
No. It was 5 to win. 5 to win 105, and they were the one of 6 legs, the only leg that didn't win. I had money line on Syracuse.
Our units have been like $10-15. You know, drop a hundo on Syracuse.
No,
I'll drop 4 Tubmans.
Yeah.
We're at the point of the podcast where Grant's just going to go through all the bad beats that he's had. He was on West Virginia.
Dude,
you know.
Oh, my God. What an awful beat. Did y'all watch that?
I saunted it.
Dude, I was worried. I threw out that, what was it, Georgia, Florida? I was like 23, grab that. And I didn't do it. Obviously, I couldn't. But it ended up working out. But I think that line moved immediately after that to like 22.
I went back and looked. I had 3 Georgia bets under 20 points. I just kept Brett. Thank you so much, because you were like, now the time I would hammer it. I owe you a beer, Brett.
I know. You're welcome for that. It was obvious what was coming, and the line was going to reflect like Florida coming back, and it's like, no, 80% of the time Georgia's just going to run it down their fucking throats here. And that's pretty much what happened. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Texas K-State's a fun game that I'm not going to watch a second of because it's at 6 o'clock.
Like I said, I moved that line. Georgia -6.5.
Where's it at? 8? Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's too many points. I like Tennessee. I kind of think Tennessee's going to win.
It's tough. That's a really good game. I don't know why I bet on it.
Because why not? It's the 1 versus 2.
Because cocaine is a hell of a drug.
Yeah, I'm just like, I might as well bet on it. I don't even need to bet on that game though to like enjoy it. That's the problem.
But it is a little bit better.
It is. I bet on our game. I took the points.
I love the over in the Georgia Tennessee game also.
I am so bad with that. Over unders. I
am too. I just love all overs.
I can't figure that out.
Games just go under because that's what games do. But 66 doesn't feel like enough.
Not in Maction.
Yeah, Maction. I don't know. Maction's changed a little bit. I did see there was a guy for Northern Illinois that's like an 8th-year senior. So shout out COVID.
Cal versus USC. That's gonna suck. Wake Forest, North Carolina State. Wake's favored.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wake's I don't know. Wake seems like hit and miss.
Wake's waking up.
Texas favored over Kansas State.
Yeah, give me K-State. Just like there's a lot of home dogs this week, boys. A lot of home dogs.
I mean, just staring at this, none of it matters. Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, LSU. Lock it in. It's gonna be a sick game.
Well,
what'd you say about ours? 56.5. You don't like that? You like over there?
If you're talking to me, I didn't comment on it, but I would probably like the over, I think. And then it's going to be 3-0 at halftime, and I
like the under if it's still raining at kickoff.
That's true. We forgot,
which was one of the points. Mike wanted me to bring that up. Weatherman here. It's supposed to rain, but it's supposed to be done before halftime. So get your ponchos on if you're listening.
I've been reading
the game,
dude. 5-day forecasts are fucking bullshit, especially in South Louisiana. It's a front. They got a front moving in. I think that's going to move through. I think 4
You're not even
o'clock.
here.
How would you know?
don't
You're
get-
not
you don't-
here.
You don't know
Yeah,
shit.
you don't know anything.
So what I gotta be boots on the ground to look at the sky. Like I gotta.
Yeah, you
I
don't.
can't,
Yeah.
I
Have
can't
you
pull out
not?
my phone and read the same shit you guys are reading.
You're an Eagle Scout. Do you think you
Mike,
can
you
learn
didn't know there
anything
was
from
a
a
hurricane
phone?
going for Raleigh a few weeks ago.
We had like 3 hours of rain. We should cancel. We should cancel.
Start your day. Start your day off with a nice little pillow fight of Billy Napier versus Jimbo, Florida, Texas A&M. Sit on the couch all day. Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, LSU. Order takeout. Make a chili.
Chili. That's the
Sit
plan.
back and just hope it like works in our favor one time.
Let's just have a battle, dude. Let's have a game. Let's go neck and neck. Let's start necking it. Let's play neck. Waxing Gibbous. Let's wax Gibb. Let's get Besh involved. Jaden Daniels. Let's be confident. Let's get the big 3-headed monster. BJ Ojolari, Baskerville, Perkins. Get them out there playing contain. Good football, exciting football. Let's bring back the LSU versus Alabama rivalry that we spent a lot of time going back and forth with before they pulled away. Let's bring that back because Bama's not going anywhere, but it's time for us to show back up to the party. And I think it starts Saturday. Do I think we win this game? I think we have a chance. I'm not going to put money down that we win.
The game's played 10 times. How many does LSU win? 3, 2,
No,
1.
I think
2.
I think
4.
I think
4 is too high.
I think 4 is the answer. I think 3 or 4 is the answer. I think we definitely,
because if we don't have penalties and turnovers, like we're just as good.
Well, I mean, if we played this game 10 times, how many times would we not have turnovers penalties?
That's true. I mean, we've gotten
Depends
better.
on who's coaching special teams.
Well, I think it goes back to what team are we getting? What LSU team are we going to get? Because we how many games have we played now? 7?
8.
Yes.
8 games. We played 8 games. We've seen probably 3 different teams of LSU. So who are we going to get? Do you get our A game? Do you get the Ole Miss team? Do you get the Florida team? Or
I'm excited
team?
I'm excited to have Herbie on the call. Like we don't get a Herb Street LSU Bama game too often.
It's going to be exciting, man. I'm ready to see us under the lights. Night game. We haven't had a nice, really big night game in a while. That mattered.
Yeah, I mean, I can't even come up with one. It's been a while since it's going to be the best Tiger Stadium has been in 3-4 years. I mean, it should be.
It better be.
If somebody wants to give me tickets, I'll sit with you. I will not pay for anything. Will not pay for anything. No, I would not. Hit us up on Twitter at Podofgeauxld, podofgeauxld@gmail.com, at goldmike. Is that it? We done?
Big time interior offensive lineman, the second rated interior O lineman, still uncommitted, committing tomorrow, I think around 9 o'clock in the morning.
What was the name?
DJ Chester.
Yeah, big chest.
We're a hat on the table. Apparently, we're feeling really good about it. So that's something to look at.
Should be a good week for some recruits.
Big time recruits coming in. Desmond Ricks, no relation, by the way, to Eli. But Desmond Ricks, the #1 overall player in the country for next year's class, reclassified. So he graduates this year now. Still a 5-star, still a top player, not the #1 overall because he reclassified. But LSU right now leads neck and neck with Bama. But all of the crystal balls have us favored a little bit more. And he decided to come in at the last minute. So this is, this is one of those games where a fumble recovery that changes the game could change the trajectory of a program. You know, like this is how big this moment is, with all eyes on it from across the country, with all of the recruits that are going to be in attendance. The national media has been very complimentary of us this past 2 weeks. Like they totally flipped the script. I feel like a win over Alabama will only catapult that into another realm.
Yeah, I mean,
it could start.
Brian Kelly's going to be on First Take on Monday if they beat Alabama.
If we beat Alabama,
doing the gritty.
If we beat Alabama, we are now where I thought we'd be 3 years from now. Like, and that's why you got to have perspective going into this, that if we lose a close game against Alabama, That's a big deal for us. Like, that's still a very competitive. I never want to say like moral victory, but it's trending in the right direction, and I think we can definitely get that done.
Have the atmosphere be an LSU Alabama atmosphere. Allow the crowd to play a part in that game and be in it at the end. And it's going to be really hard for a recruit to not say, yeah, I want to sign up for that.
Everybody wants to be part of the new scene, the new trend. Give them a reason to. Give them a reason to jump on board.
Be prepared to be trolled by dancing Danny, whatever his name is, Danny Lewis, tight end with Brian Kelly. Get ready for that. Prepare for that. And
I'm surprised I haven't seen it yet.
I saw it on the message boards. I found it on the Bama message boards.
Yeah, the shoe fan stuck his finger in my booty hole.
Pretty much. Like, did anyone know that Danny Lee's on Alabama's roster? It's like, yeah, man, we fucking found that out.
Not on the field, though.
Not on the field.
He rides the pine pretty well.
And I mean, you know, all signs seem that we did all right in the tight end room for that class. So
more to come on that. A lot of
Mason Taylor, player of the game.
Mason Taylor. I definitely think no. I think Taylor's definitely gotten better. I think
he is.
I think he's going to have a big part in the game. He better catch the ball. He's going to be targeted.
Tight end screens. That's how we beat Bama.
Best breakout.
Is that it? We're done?
Cover the backs out of the backfield.
Wax and give us.